After the rain is when the sun comes out. Let's go and check out a few places here in the compound, how they look now that they have received a good portion of moisture. First stop on this little walkabout is this raised garden bed here. Let's see how things look like that are inside. So right here we do have some Thai basil that I seeded here a while ago, and it's coming up very nicely. So it is also in here. There in the back you can see a few. And the garlic itself continues to grow. I'm not so sure why some of the leaves are not green. It gets plenty of water and the basil grows. So I don't know why that is. I'm not a gardening expert. The chive here is also coming along very nicely, and it has a much better taste than the one from the store. The coriander has made a lot of leaves and flowers, and there are insects in there, which is also very positive. I'm waiting on the seed pods to show up. And here we have some broccoli and also some okra. This little one there is okra. And a few other things that try to come up. And there are a few beans that are lagging behind, but the beans over there, and especially here on this side, they are looking very nice. They have grown all the way to the top. I will put a string there so that this connects to the other part, so that they can move over there and then distribute themselves on this part. Here in the future dog enclosure, the older patch where the sunflower, sun hemp and corn mix got seeded, this has come up very well. And the new palovnias, they are also trying to grow. So nobody has died. And in the newer part, it has also come up very well. I was afraid that the birds ate most of the seed, but that's not the case. What I don't see is the corn, because they did dig around and quite a few of the corn was left then on the surface because they dug it out looking for the other seed. So I don't see any corn plant here, but it doesn't matter. It's a mix, and whatever grows is good. It will be cut down anyway and left on the ground to form some topsoil, which we don't have at the moment, you see, and this also requires quite a few amounts, quite a bit of irrigation. So I definitely in the afternoon need to irrigate again. Also we are expecting more rain. This dries out very quickly. Here to the left of the yurt we are removing things from inside, almost done, and then we will dismantle it. There things also grow. The trees have found a little bit more water thanks to the rain and also some irrigation. They were a little bit dry, which is why the leaves are smaller than usual, but they are growing. And the other thing is, all this ground cover here is also getting abundant, and the plan is to put a few sheep here. And the question is, how do we get them here, because there's no easy access, but somehow we will do this. Probably tomorrow, because we had some other issues that prevented us from doing it. And somehow we also need to protect these where the leaves are very low, and also the one that has been coming back. So somehow we put a sheep net here and then use something else to exclude these guys, because we don't want the sheep to eat the leaves, but instead they should eat from that and do some maintenance. Instead of us cutting it down, my idea is let the animals do it and also feed them, because over there there's nothing growing. So instead of buying feed, we can combine two things and give them that. That would be a little bit smarter, I think. And worth the hassle of putting up the net and bringing the sheep in somehow. The challenge is that there is this wall, and also we have the door there, and we could easily move them. We either make them jump, that would be the first try, or we have to catch them and then place them there. I opt for making them jump, but we will see how we can manage this. The rainfall also activated these flowers here. Oh, that is also very nice. We are in summer and, well, not officially yet, but we are in a drought, then that's official. But we do have growth, and somehow things are improving, at least in our little patch. But then we do all kinds of crazy things to somehow get nature stimulated and moving. And also this is a very small thing, it's working. So I'm not disappointed, just the contrary. And that confirms the idea, let's focus on one area first, which right now is the compound, but soon we will expand our activity a little bit. And while I walk here, I can show you that. So we will expand our activity in that direction and plant something there and do something with this rock wall that has fallen down. There in the distance you can see it. But let's not jump ahead, so just mentioning. There's also the wannabe food forest that I want to give it some love. So that's probably then first, because there's already foundation. Instead of trying something new, let's continue what we started. So here is the new well that we have. It's a joke, of course, but as I dug down 3.4 meters, water came out of the ground, so we struck water, and then it rained, and as you can see, this water is staying. So without the connection to the water that is in the soil, this would have long disappeared. But now the ground there is saturated, so it won't. At least that's somehow what I think and how I can explain it. But that's what I want. So I definitely want this pond here in the dog enclosure be a water reservoir, and maybe depending on how it goes and how it looks like when I have cleaned this up. For that it needs to be dry a little bit. So after the additional rain that is in the forecast, I can probably then continue digging here. But what I want is, I want this to be a water reservoir for long as possible. And depending on how things then are, how well it holds the water and for how long, of course it depends on the rain and all the other factors, we can either use a small pump that moves the water inside this dog enclosure to keep other things alive. So for example, those trees there, but by then they will have reached the water themselves or whatever, so I'm not so sure. Or maybe we put something else in here. What? I cannot say, because it depends on how much it holds the water. But it could be plants, it could be even fish, of course in a way that the dogs won't catch them. So the idea is to somehow have it as a source of life inside of the dog enclosure, because I want this dog enclosure to look nice and be an interesting addition to the compound. And in case that some of you guys come visit it, you should not be afraid of those dogs, because those boys there and girls, they are pretty large and it's not for everybody. So quite a few people are afraid. We even had a plumber here who came one time, saw the dogs and turned around. So not everybody likes to interact with dogs that have a weight of 40 to 50 kilo each. and when they stand up, reach your nose. So that is not the same thing as a puppy or a mascot. So they are pretty serious. And of course also here there are more of these flowers. I forgot the name of the plant, but it's a medicinal plant. In Spanish it's called malva, and the English name is probably similar. You guys will probably write this in a comment how it is called in English. But we have a lot of it, and it's very nice to see. Well, and here we have that other patch, and once the car has passed, I can show you a few more details here. So the things that we seeded here, they have sprouted. So this is also coming along. And like I said, it needs some irrigation. Even if we are between the rains, it is quite hot already. The Andalusian sun is very powerful, and the surface gets dry very, very quickly. So better to replenish this and make sure that it continues growing. Especially with the trees there, they need to make roots, and for that they need the water. And you see, there are a few other things coming up. Here there are a few more, and soon we should see some corn coming up here in this patch. This is the next patch, where yesterday I was able to plant a few palovnias, 10 in total. But what I discovered is at 10 centimeters depth it is bone dry. So I will now irrigate here using the hose that we have there. It is only this part here around the corner. We still need to do something, and I hope to be able to show you this in a moment. So I am referring myself to this part here. We have some sort of a, I think it's called a power harrow in English, and we want to try this. It's a 40-year-old machine, and we will see how this goes. So stay tuned for the next clip. As you can see, even with a little bit of water, you right away get some standing water there, some puddles, because the soil does not have enough organic compounds, and so the water does not soak in well. And that's the same problem that you can see on fields where the soil is bad and kept fertile by using artificial fertilizer and plowing and stuff like that, and then water infiltration is minimal and you have a lot of runoff. So here you can see this, because I'm not really adding a ton of water, it's just a little bit what that hose can provide, but the effect is dramatic. In other places where we added the horse manure to it and mixed everything, those puddles won't appear. That water gets infiltrated right away, while here it is standing on the surface. And you see, so it's not that I have hundreds of liters coming out of this hose, but we have to start somewhere, and that is how we do it now.